Okay, Graham. Here are some notes that relate directly to your submission, and I hope you find these worthwhile. What I've done is I've looked at what you said that you wanted some support on, and I've just answered those sort of questions. Obviously, you know there's a formatting problem with the work, but I'm sure you'll soon pick that up and put it and correct it. Let's come down to the very beginning. I think what we do first of all is we're going to think about changing the title of the work, and I've got here closer to fewer, realistic and worthwhile pursuit in supply chain management. I think that's more reflective of what you're trying to do. It's just a thought. Have a think about it. You may want to change it again, but I think that's worth thinking about. Okay. You said it will seek. I just said, look, just cut a lot of the words out. This dissertation investigate, or will investigate, or investigates the appropriate the approach of structure and implementing a partnering strategy for the supply chain within construction. Fine. The introduction's fine, but I really want you to think about this. In this section of the work, in the very beginning of the introduction, set the scene. It should take no more than 2 pages. Set the scene for the whole dissertation. Outline a few things like you've mentioned here, right? That in fact the dissertation's about structuring the supply chain. So over that two pages, think about, well, tell the reader what the supply chain is, how the construction industry is organised, and then identify the problems with the current situation, and then you can come on to the aim of the dissertation, which you have here. So basically I want you to expand this section of the introduction by about a page to 2 pages. You might even want to take some of the work out from your literature review and put it in this section and just expand it all the way through. Okay, I've got rid of some of the long words, you know, the extra sentences, and just cut them down. So the aim, analysis of partnering strategy known as close to fewer, which has been adopted by, I wouldn't say company A. What I've said is a UK-based construction organisation, right? I would go around now, if you're happy with that or something like that. I understand why you want to make it anonymous, but if you're happy with that or something very much like that, then what you need to do is just go down and change all company A out, because company A may or may not be in construction. Yeah, what you're talking about is a construction company. Okay, I've just changed some of the verbs here. All right, this here is not an objective. This here, what you've produced, this part here, is really about a statement of facts about the way you're going to go about concluding or conducting your research. That's not an objective. The objectives are basically the main themes of the dissertation. What I want you to do when you've finished this work and you come to draw your conclusions is you take the aim, objective and hypothesis and you move that into the conclusion. I'm not saying you don't have it in the introduction, but you also then put it in the conclusion, and you then state that what you've done here is you have the aim of the research was to answer the following objectives, and you write down your first objective and then you answer what it says here. So basically you've got here analyze existing procurement strategies for engaging the supply chain, right? What you then say, analysis of existing strategies for procuring the supply chain is X. Now this would probably come out of your literature review. You then say, in the field review or the field research, this has been backed up by this point and this point, or it hasn't been backed up, or whatever, and that's the way you draw your conclusions. So you ask for some advice on conclusions, that's the way you do it. Okay, so what I suggest you do is you go right the way through your literature review, highlighting all the main points stroke themes that have come out of that, which can then support a conclusion to answer your objectives. I hope that makes sense, but it's the main themes in your literature review. Okay? The next thing I'm going to do is take you on to page 15, where the next piece of work is. Okay, analysis of interviews and responses. You're going to have to tell me, or the reader, why you've got these directors. Why are they so special? Yeah? Are they directors that relate directly to the area of supply chain? Do they produce the overall philosophy and strategy? You have to be able to state not the names of the directors, not what company they work for, but their role, why they have been selected, why they are so important into this. All right. The next thing, the results, along with the survey that was conducted. I want to come on to the survey that was conducted later on, but first of all here. So, how many people were in this sample? You conducted a survey, I presume with a questionnaire. How many people were in this sample, and how does it work? All right. Now, it takes. Next thing is, how long has the company been pursuing this? I take it from this, you have stated that there were 3 interviews, right? This is the bit here, right? Number 1, the responses. You seem to have everything put into one. You have to make a decision. You either produce this as 3 separate interviews, or you then produce it as one question answer with 3 individual responses, right? So I can see what happens. The next thing is, it says how long have you been doing this? Since 2006. Not roughly 7 years, because if I pick this dissertation up in 5 years time, it won't be roughly 7 years, it'll be roughly 12 years. Summary, since 2006. Okay, so please identify the different sections, like you might say director A said this, director Y said that, or whatever. So there's a sort of like feel of how these people reacted differently to what's going on. Now the next thing is, what you then do is you review all of what you've produced in your data field, yeah, all the responses, and you will start to see themes start appearing. On those themes, it could be things like greater savings, etc. Give that a GS, yeah, and then underneath it you could make some kind of matrix, and you can see from that patterns appearing, like all 3 mentioned greater savings, or only 2 of them did, or these are the things that happen. So when you're doing this work, this is where you transcribe it, so you have a written piece of work plus some kind of analysis which you can look at and then pick out key points. After that, you can then do some kind of matrix and show how something like, you know, GS was said by respondent A, but not respondent B, but was said by respondent B in these subject areas on this question and these types of things. Then you'll start getting patterns appear, and that's one way of analysing your work, right? What I can't find here anywhere is the results of your questionnaire, all right, that you sent to the other respondents. You may want to clarify this, all right, but think about it, because you've got here, first it was interviews, secondly a questionnaire. I've got that you put a questionnaire out, but where's the results from it? I can't find it anywhere on this. I'm now going to take you to page 30. Okay, I come back to this again, right? What you need to do is go back, when you've done a full analysis of your field results, and like I've said, you're going to have to show the results from your questionnaires. Pick out the salient points from the whole of those sections in relation to your aims and objectives. When you've done that, okay, you'll start getting some kind of picture appear that either supports or doesn't support your hypothesis. But basically you put down, you say objective 1, whatever the objective is, and then you'll say something like this: analysis of the literature review has supported, has not supported, or whatever. But then you would say analysis of the literature review has shown that whatever it has shown, with this supports the argument, this does not support the argument, and so on. Then you would state that the field research has also shown this, has not shown this, as whatever, and that's the way you build it up. So I think what the best thing you can do now is, when it comes to conclusions, is go away and put a conclusion together, right, based around an objective. So you do each objective, and then you say, right, analysis of the objective has identified that the aim of the dissertation, whatever it is, was seen to be correct in these areas, right? And exactly the same with a hypothesis, and that's the way you draw your conclusions. And it's incredibly important you do that. Okay, I've finished now. If you have any more questions, please don't hesitate in contacting me via email.